Hi, good morning. It is Tuesday, February the 9th, and I just want to do a quick video here because I made a lot of people mad last night. And, I got accused of stirring the pot, and I made the comment that, well, sometimes maybe the pot needs to be stirred. And I think we sometimes forget that, iron sharpens iron, and, and we all have, we all bring a little something different to the table with our gifts and our talents. But first of all, let me say this: there are two documents, if you will, that I try to live my life by: the Scriptures and the Constitution. And it's actually kind of hard for me to totally separate the two because in some respects they are intertwined, and I'm going to get into this. Um, the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution recognizes that that all men are created equal. Well, the Bible recognizes that too because God is not a respecter of persons, and that uh, we have been given unalienable rights by God, not by man, because the problem with if we're given rights by man, then man can take them away. If we're given rights by God, then man has no jurisdiction, no authority to infringe upon rights that are granted by the Creator. And that's why this is so important, and that's why atheists really have no rights, because um, if they don't believe in a creator, then they don't have any rights. And I want you to think about that for a minute, because if you don't believe that rights come from a creator or from God, and they come from man, then man can just rescind your rights, and you don't have any rights. So sorry for you. But but let me just go on with this, because in the scriptures, God gave Adam and Eve authority over the earth, and that's been passed down um, to the human race. We have dominion over the animals. God has in His natural law told man that we fend for ourselves. Basically, here's the thing. People talking about leadership in this particular group, and I know I've made people mad, and that wasn't necessarily my intention. But yet, it never ceases to amaze me that it always happens when I get involved with stuff. Because first of all, I ask a lot of questions that people don't want to answer. But here's the other thing: I take things to the literal extreme of what they say, and so that you know my leader is God. That's the way it's supposed to be. I don't need. I'm a sovereign human being. I don't need a leader. Okay, I don't need someone to tell me what I can or cannot do. And and I'm not going to get into the specifics of what happened with this conversation. But for even a group of people to say, well, this is what we're gathering for, and this is what you can do, and this is what you can't do. Well, the problem is this is a patriot group who are supposed to be constitutional, and what I was suggesting had everything to do with the Constitution, nothing that would break the Constitution. And what came across my mind is these people were actually doing what we're fighting the government from doing. And I'm thinking to myself, what is wrong with this picture here? Why would these people try to inhibit or infringe upon rights when the purpose of these groups, I thought, was to fight a tyrannical, out of control, abusive government who's doing the same thing. And yet they're going, well, we can't do this, we can't. And I'm like, wait, really? How do you come up with that? And they're throwing all these things out. Well, there might be media there. There's a children's thing. It's a family thing. It's this. It's that. It's the other thing. And I'm thinking, well, what does that have to do with exercising constitutional rights? What does that have to do with exercising constitutional rights? And the real answer is it doesn't have anything to do with it. People are afraid of perception. They're afraid of what other people might say. Well, I'm not. I couldn't care less. Um, and we need to get past this point and here's the thing. There we call ourselves three percenters. Well, let's look at the original three percenters. They couldn't have cared less what other people said. They went to war with England with 3%, not caring what the 97% said. And if you don't think they didn't have a dual war on their hands, not only with England, but also with the dissenters who really didn't want to go to war and didn't want to fight that, you're wrong. So we fight this battle on several different levels, if you will, in that not only are we fighting a government that's out of control, but we're also fighting people who are pro-government, not realizing that pro-government means that they're actually being enslaved or they are slaves to the very government that they're trying to support. Look, they're blind, man. And they're ignorant, and they don't understand their rights, and the most of them are probably getting some type of benefits and stuff from the government, and so they're getting that free ride out there, and so it's whoop-de-doo, let's just party, 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 and whatever, and you're always going to have that, but here's the thing, I just don't get it. We have to learn that infringing on rights is wrong, no matter what. No matter what. I may not like what someone else says. I may not like what someone else does. As long as they're not committing a crime, and by committing a crime, I mean the literal execution of a crime where there is loss or damage or harm. There's got to be, some type of actual physical damage or something in order for it to be a crime. We hear all this stuff about now they're even talking about hate speech and all this stuff, for crying out loud. Give me a break. We're setting our children up to fail because I need a safe space because I'm afraid somebody's going to yell at me. When they get out in the real world and their boss climbs up their butt and threatens to fire them, what are they going to do? Man, they're going to go crying to mommy or something. I don't know. These poor kids today are being set up to fail because they're afraid of their own shadow. And how tragic that is. And these are the things that I'm trying to fight against. These are the things, man, when I was growing up, I mean, it wasn't all this stuff, man. You the way you dealt with a bully was you learned to deal with it. You either stood up to him or you ran or you did whatever it took, but you didn't go get the entire, doggone Board of Education involved with a stinking bully, because contrary to what people believe, everybody's been bullied and everybody has been a bully at some point or another, to some extent or another. And if you say you haven't, you're a liar. Go through your life and think about the way you've treated other people, and you'll find out that you're guilty. So, at the end of the day, and I'm going to just knock this off with this, we have these groups, and they're patriot groups, or they're this, or they're that, or they're militias, or whatever. The problem is we have to realize, number one, we have a common enemy. Number two, we need to get past the point of just, meet and greets and stuff like that. I don't know how many people are calling congressmen and senators, and how many people are actually writing letters. I write letters, and I call, and I do things like that. Um, I'm always voicing my opinion, and I don't care. I'm not afraid of these people because, they don't scare me. And I say what I want to say. I do it at county council. I stand right there toe to toe with them. And I take them on. Because why? Because they're the servant. They're the servant and we're the master. I've gone after my county sheriff asking him questions which he won't answer. And I've had people kind of rebuke me. Well, what makes you think he ought to answer you? Because that's his job. He is the public servant. And we, the people, are the masters. And when I ask him, why aren't you getting your county to the point where it's following the Constitution, that particular question is not a stupid question, and it's one that demands an answer. But he won't. He won't. And I keep hounding him, until he either gets tired of me and threatens me or does whatever he wants to do. I don't care. I'm to the point. I've told several people this. The most dangerous person in the world is the person with nothing left to lose, and who doesn't care. And I'm kind of in that category. So, all right. Well, I got to get to bed because I've been up all night. But I wanted to get this video out, listen. The most important thing, and I want to make sure I get this. This life is just temporary. This life, the Bible talks, James says that we're just a vapor. Peter, he says, we're like the grass. We're here, this morning and this afternoon we're cut and put in the oven. The most important thing is to know that you're saved and going to heaven, and that your sins are forgiven, and that you've been justified. And that is only accomplished one way, just one. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me. The gospel, which is the power of God unto salvation, Romans chapter 1, verse 16, is the fact that Jesus Christ was crucified, buried, and rose the third day for the forgiveness of sins. He paid the sin debt for the entire world, 1 John chapter 2, verse 1. And that if you simply believe that he was crucified, buried, and rose the third day, you're saved. And the Bible makes it very, very clear. Because the Bible, time and time and time again, talks about faith. For by faith are you saved through grace. Okay? Or for by grace are you saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, a gift of God, not of works, lest anyone should boast. Ephesians chapter 2. So, if you're not saved, if you've never accepted Jesus as Savior, all you have to do is just believe what he did. There's no prayer. There's no changing of this in your life. There's none of that. It's all about believe. And if you read the book of John, and that's the best book you can read, get a highlighter or a marker, and every time the word believe is used, highlight it, and you will be amazed at how many times John uses the word believe. All right, have a good day, man. Be careful.